Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Thunder Bay City Council will consider a recommendation to repeal the city's COVID-19 vaccination policy on Monday night. It has been in place since September of 2021 and affected all city staff. After the policy was introduced, the vast majority of workers provided proof of vaccination, while others decided not to, but did submit to irregular testing. A handful of staff did not comply, resulting in unpaid suspensions. Administration already suspended the policy's testing requirement in September after asking the local health unit for guidance. The majority of Ontario municipalities have already repealed their own policies or are in the process of doing so. The first ship of the season has arrived at the port of Thunder Bay. The MV Harvest Spirit crossed Thunder Bay's breakwall at 5 a.m. this morning, signaling the beginning of the 2023 shipping season. The Harvest Spirit arrived from Cleveland and was tied up at Superior Elevator this morning. Thunder Bay will once again be her main port of call this season after she made 21 trips for grain last year. The vessel was led by Captain Adam Hagan and Chief Engineer Gavin Pink, who were both honored in a traditional top hat ceremony for navigating the first ship into the port. Captain Hagan says he's grateful to receive the distinction for the first time in his career.
It is quite exciting. I'm happy to lead the charge this year, as well as it is quite an honor, as I read in the top hat as some of the old captains that I'm now associated with. It is quite an honor and another feather in the cap, I suppose.
First thing, it's a sign of spring for us, and this time of year, once the first ship comes in, this is the furthest inland port in Canada, so you know, we see the commerce starting up again. It's a pretty exciting time for us, and everyone's optimistic. So I think it's, you know, great day, beautiful weather, perfect, yeah.
The Harvest Spirit is set to depart tonight for Windsor with a 14,000-ton load of canola. Local MPP Lise Vaugeois is calling out the Ford government for the lack of progress in implementing the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. A recent report on the AODA concluded that without urgent action, the province will fail to meet the target of making Ontario accessible by the beginning of 2025. Vaugeois spoke to the issue at Queen's Park this week and also pointed out that Doug Ford has yet to meet with the AOD Alliance.
The report states, and I quote, "The Premier of Ontario and his cabinet have yet to meet even the basic needs of people with disabilities." Adding insult to injury, the AOD Alliance, a group concerned with implementing the Act, has met with every Premier since the AODA was passed in 2005, but not this Premier. Speaker, through you, will the Premier commit to meeting with the Alliance and immediately work to fully implement the AODA?
Under the leadership of this Premier, we are the first provincial government to have a ministry and cabinet position dedicated to advancing accessibility in Ontario. We are building more accessible Ontario together. Thank you.
Meanwhile, Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland was questioning his government this week about what's being done to make vehicle registrations more efficient in the north. Holland's question at Queen's Park was responded to by Khalid Rashid, the Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery.
Traveling to Service Ontario centres can be challenging and inconvenient. Dealerships are negatively impacted by long wait times, travel, and overly complicated vehicle registration forms. All of these problems lead to a loss of productivity, delays, and backlogs for users. It is important that our government takes action to be proactive in finding innovative solutions that will cut red tape for businesses and make access to services faster and more efficient. Speaker, can the Minister please explain how our government is expanding vehicle registration transactions?
It does not matter whether you live in downtown Timmins or downtown Toronto. Everyone has the right to expect the best service from this government. That is why, under the leadership of our Premier, this government is leveraging emerging technology and modernizing our province's vehicle services with the automobile industry through their digital dealership registration.
The new federal alcohol tax hike kicks next month, and for at least one local craft brewery, it's yet another challenge to their operation. The 6.3% increase will affect all liquor sales, including wine, beer, and spirits. Dawson Trail Craft Brewery operates right here in Thunder Bay. The significant tax hike is more difficult this time around as they're currently in the middle of a big move to Golf Links Road. Owner George Renner says he understands the need for these hikes, but stresses they can be more difficult for a craft brewery of their size.
Proportionately affects us a little bit less, but still, costs, everything for us for costs are more because of our scale. So, you're not talking like cleaner and like paper towel. You're talking about like basic input costs that have gone up by 20-ish% or something in that line. So it's been tough.
The new alcohol tax increase comes into effect on April 1st. The annual Sunshine List has been released, showing the names and salaries of Ontario public sector workers who earned $100,000 or more. And this year's list has over 1,500 people on it from Thunder Bay. Vasilios Bellos has the numbers.
A total of 588 employees were paid $100,000 or more by the City of Thunder Bay in 2022, with City Manager Norm Gale topping the list, taking home over $268,000. Now retired Police Chief Sylvie Hoth was not that far behind, earning over $263,000, while Police Chief Sergeant Justin Dubik earned over $260,000, which is about $12,000 more than Acting Police Chief Dan Taddeo, who earned just over $248,000. Lakehead University also had high numbers with 388 on the list, led by President Moira McPherson, who earned an even $360,000. In total, 18 employees at the university took home more than $200,000, while at Confederation College, President Kathleen Lynch was the only one to make more than $200,000 for the year. There were 132 employees at the college who made more than the threshold required to make an appearance on the list. The Lakehead District School Board had 335 employees on the list, with now retired Director of Education Ian McRae earning over $183,000. And finally, at the Thunder Bay District Catholic School Board, Director of Education Pino Tassoni made just over $207,000 as one of 365 employees who met the public salary disclosure threshold. Now, not surprisingly, some of the highest paid workers on the Sunshine List came from the healthcare sector, as John Haggerty, Senior Director of Addictions and Mental Health at St. Joseph's Care Group, made over $410,000, with two other psychiatrists topping the $400,000 mark. President and CEO Kelly O'Brien was the 11th highest paid employee at St. Joe's, earning over $336,000, while a total of 167 employees made the list. At Thunder Bay Regional Health Sciences Center, 491 staffers made the list, led by Dr. Robert Shepard's $389,000, followed by the President and CEO Rhonda Crocker-Ellicott, who made $375,000. Dr. Janet DeMille led all employees at the Thunder Bay District Health Unit, where 20 people made the list. The Medical Officer of Health earned over $362,000 last year. Vasilios Bellos, TVT News.
The elderly population was arguably affected the most by the pandemic, both physically and mentally. Its challenges forced seniors to find unique sources of happiness, which is what inspired Age Big and the Thunder Bay Museum to launch their Places and Faces project. 4 months ago, 8 seniors were selected to prepare stories of people and places they connected with in the last 3 years. And last week, they had their long-awaited chance to share those stories in person. Mike Lang has more.
The 8 Places and Faces storytellers took center stage on the 3rd floor of the Thunder Bay Museum as they shared their stories of the last 3 years with a sold-out room full of people. It was an opportunity for senior community members to connect with each other in person, which they naturally could not do during the pandemic. They talked about people, places, and personal memories that uplifted them in the last 3 years.
Well, my very personal is too personal to tell.
They, of course, shared many laughs as well, which was a wonderful sight for Age Big founder Nancy Angus. She was grateful that the Places and Faces project accomplished its goal of bringing the community together and enlightening one another.
We found out about some of the most amazing places that people have connected in Thunder Bay, and also we put the spotlight on the senior storytellers. And I think that's what's really incredible about this process is that they're the stars. They worked really hard to open up their own lives. These are personal archives. They're only 3 minutes long, but they start conversations flowing.
It was a wonderful experience. I think it helped us get through COVID. Being in Thunder Bay and all the wonderful places that we had to go and visit, and to be able to share it today was a real treat.
The storytellers had previously prepared their stories in 3-minute videos at a workshop 4 months ago, which were also presented to the audience. But Angus and museum director Scott Bradley also felt that it was important to archive the storytellers' memories so that future generations can learn about how seniors overcame the challenges of the pandemic.
You know, we struggled to kind of find a path to document what was going on with the pandemic with seniors, with everyone in town. And this was a great opportunity to partner with a great organization to do some of that documentation, to get these personal stories of how people were impacted and how they overcame a lot of the adversity that we all had to overcome.
The digital stories from the Places and Faces project are also available for viewing on the Thunder Bay Museum website. Mike Lang, TBT News.
And we're now joined by sports anchor Kurt Black. Plenty going on in the sports world, and you have plenty of it on your lineup, yes. But we're starting with curling, and it's some of the best curling for women's in the sport we can see.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very, very crazy day at the World Women's Curling Championship. Carrie Anderson going for bronze. We'll have those highlights right after the break.